Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It's Sunday, and I'm back to talk all about how you can get more sleep. So, we're looking specifically at how to increase your sleep duration. That's the word we use in the lab, or total sleep time if you're looking at polysomnogram data. And a couple of reasons here, or a couple of tips, or just things that you can try. Alrighty, let's get started. So, number one, and if you've ever heard me give a talk before, my number one tip is always prioritize your sleep. Decide that you want to get more sleep. Because guess what? When you decide you're going to do something and you stick to it and you learn more about it, you really can. So, decide today that you want to get more sleep. But let's take a step back. How do you know that you even need more sleep to begin with? Well, if you take a look at research, there's a U-shaped curve between how much sleep we need, sleep duration, and things like morbidity, mortality, health outcomes. One of the studies that was really phenomenal, they looked at over 4.4 million people across 30 countries, and they said that most people should be getting between 7 to 8 hours in terms of improving your health. So reducing some health outcomes such as like diabetes, obesity, high blood pressure, stroke. So shoot for at least 7. So if you're getting under 7 hours of sleep, then this video is for you. If you're already getting 7 and you're still tired and you feel like you could use some more sleep, well, then this video is for you as well. So our number one tip is to prioritize sleep, because when you decide that you want to make something more important in your life, then it can happen for sure. So make that decision today, commit to it. Number two, take a look at your circadian rhythm. So a lot of people are talking about circadian science, circadian rhythms, internal clocks. And this is so important because also I feel like it's nothing that they teach you really about in school. Even in medical school, we didn't really learn too much about circadian rhythm, but it's so important because all of us have clocks within us. And, if at all possible, if we could match our outside clock, our social calendar, work calendar, family calendar to our internal clocks, actually, you're going to feel a lot better and you're going to be able to get more sleep. So what does this look like? Well, if you came in to see me as a patient, a lot of times what I see for insomnia visits are people who are trying to fall asleep earlier than their internal clock actually wants them. How do I know this? Well, we do intake questionnaires and I ask them, what time they go to bed, how long it takes them to fall asleep, and in compared to the weekend, how is their sleep pattern? And a lot of us, want to go to bed at 9 because we wake up at 5 or 6 to get ready to go to work. Sometimes we have to commute. But guess what? On the weekends, and this is, sort of irrespective of sort of social calendar, tend to stay up later, right? And when you fall asleep on the weekends, if you can fall asleep at midnight or 1, and you can fall asleep, in 15 minutes or less, they feel so much better versus during the work week when they're trying to go to bed at 9 or 10 and it takes them 2 to 3 hours to fall asleep. I'm like, well, this really isn't insomnia. It's just that you're trying to go to sleep sooner than your clock, your internal rhythm, your circadian rhythm actually does allow. So there's a questionnaire called the Morningness-Eveningness Questionarre where you can try to figure this out. Another good way, and just really an easy way, I ask my patients, well, when was the last time you didn't have anything to do? And I always say that with like a chuckle, because when was the last time we didn't have anything to do? We didn't have any responsibilities. Even for some folks, when they do go on vacation, they sort of have things, tours or, hiking, or just things are scheduled back to back to back, depending on where you're going. So just imagine a time, where you had nothing that you needed to do. And one lady told me one day, she was actually backpacking with some friends in Europe, and she would, stay up to 2 a.m. and felt great, wake up at 10 and ready to start her day. But right now she was only able, really had to wake up at 5 to go to work. So her bedtime was a lot earlier and she struggled to sleep. So biggest thing is, are you matching your sleep time to your clock time, or is it just to your external world? And if you can get a job where, it's sort of shifted, and if you want to stay up later, you can, it can make a lot of difference. But if you can't, you can actually use the power of light therapy by getting a light box, 10,000 lux, or actually just go outside if you have, it's summertime here in the Northern Hemisphere, and you can just go outside and get some sunlight, at least half an hour. Sometimes people benefit for even 1 to 2 hours, and that can help. So what we call entrainment or phase advance your clock to help you sleep earlier so that you can extend your sleep time, right? Because we want to get as much sleep as possible because sleep is great for our whole bodies and our minds and everything like that. Another thing that you can do, so a third tip is something called CBT for insomnia, cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia. And not everyone, I would say, fits a clinical diagnosis of insomnia, which is difficulty falling asleep, staying asleep, problems waking up too early, or daytime distress happens at least 3 times a week. If it happens more than 3 months, so we say it's chronic insomnia. But some of us just have, like stressors every now and then that can affect our sleep, or sometimes our sleep hygiene is a little bit off. One thing to note for cognitive behavioral therapy, it seems like a lot of people have it synonymous with, making sure I'm off my phone or making sure I avoid alcohol or caffeine. Those things can help, and that fits around sleep hygiene, but it's more than that. So there are practices that are built within this program to help you relax, because part of what happens when we sleep is when our brain waves slow down. There's something called stimulus control. We want to see our bed and use it just for sleep and intercourse. I say you want to associate your bed with just sleep. You want to see your bed and have it as a magnet. And then I think what's really helpful for a lot of people that I work with who have a lot of anxiety in and around sleep is something called cognitive restructuring. So taking a look at your specific thoughts in and around sleep. Because sometimes, we get quite anxious in our ability to fall asleep or stay asleep. And that's a little bit of a double-edged sword. We're tired, we're exhausted. And then as soon as our head hits the pillow, we just really have a hard time winding down because we're worried about all the things we have to do the following day. And if we don't get X amount of sleep, it can really impact that. So taking a look at your thoughts in and around sleep, and can we replace those or slowly shift those thoughts to more pleasant ones? Yeah, and so it works really, really well, but it does take some introspection, take some self-reflection. So right now, if you have a pen and paper and you're having a hard time sleeping and it's because of those thoughts in your brain, just write them down on a piece of paper and take a look at them. Because when you write them down, it really helps you distance yourself from your thoughts. You are not actually your thoughts. Your thoughts are just like different channels on a TV. You can change the channel. Certainly easier said than done. If you are looking for help with someone who is trained in cognitive behavioral therapy, I do recommend the American Academy. Oh, actually, sorry, back up. It's the Society for Behavioral Sleep Medicine, American Society for Behavioral Sleep Medicine. I'll put a link in the comments below. Hopefully you can find a practitioner in your area. If not, there's a really good app that's completely free made by the VA, the Veterans Administration, that's called CBTi Coach. Also for some of my patients who, are more of self-learners, they don't want to talk to someone, they're not too fan of an app, you can actually read the book called Say Goodnight to Insomnia by Greg Jacobs. It's an excellent, excellent book. Another tip that you can think about or you can incorporate into your daily life to help improve your sleep duration is mindfulness. So mindfulness is just being present in the moment, noticing your surroundings, not trying to be elsewhere, not looking to the past, not looking to the future, just being here now, and then noticing your attitude and your attention towards that as well. Some of the research actually shows that mindfulness can also improve your sleep time. I love the work of Dr. Jason Ong. He's a researcher, and he sort of he matched the two between cognitive behavioral therapy and the mindfulness-based stress reduction techniques into mindfulness-based therapies for insomnia, which is super phenomenal. So yeah, if you have already done cognitive behavioral therapy and it's helped, but you're still looking for more improvement, find a mindfulness meditation teacher, or read some of the work of Dr. Jason Ong. That would be phenomenal. Also, you can also start with an app. There's a lot of great apps out there. I'm not recommending any specific ones. I personally have used things like Headspace, Insight Timer, Calm. There's so many out there. You can go on YouTube and watch so many different types of videos as well. But just, think of sleep as something that happens when we're calm and then we're relaxed. So if there is a meditation, a practice that makes you feel more calm and relaxed, if you don't know, you can also check out the video section. I do have a couple that I recorded there as well. Alrighty, we are going to talk about obstructive sleep apnea. I always like to sneak that in because it's so common, ladies. So if you do want to extend your sleep and you're one of those folks who wake up in the middle of the night, you have a hard time staying asleep, it could be because of your breathing. So obstructive sleep apnea is a physical blockage of the upper airway. Typically, it's the tongue falling back or the muscles more downstream. And when that happens, right, your brain's like, hey, you got to wake up and breathe. And this can happen continually throughout the night. And for a lot of the ladies that I work with, sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night and you've already slept a couple hours, so you're not as tired. So it's harder to go back to sleep. And then you're just sort of laying there really judging yourself about, why am I not asleep? Something must be wrong with me. It's probably my hormones, yada, yada, yada. Instead of going down that rabbit hole, talk to your doctor, your healthcare practitioner about getting a sleep apnea test. And so if you roll that out and you get better sleep or more sleep quality, fantastic. If not, we already talked about, cognitive behavioral therapy. We already talked about mindfulness. Those things certainly can help as well. And the last tip that I have today is something you probably have already heard about. This is not new information, but guess what? Exercise is super beneficial. And any kind of exercise, move your body. If you can sweat, that's fantastic. Some people like to ask, what is the best time to exercise? So I put a link into an article below that talked about exercising earlier in the day may improve your sleep quality at night because it relaxes your sympathetic nervous system, that stress response. But also, we found that regardless of the time that you do resistance training, so weightlifting, ladies, which is great for our bones, it's great for increasing our muscle mass and improves our blood sugars. Regardless of the time, if you do resistance training, it can improve your sleep quality. And then some people, the only time they have to exercise is before bedtime. And so the researchers talked about if you exercise an hour and a half before bedtime, it's associated with increased deep sleep, right? Deep sleep is wonderful because that's the time of the night or the day, depending on when you sleep, when the trash collectors, our lymphatic system gets turned on and cleans up all the toxins throughout the day. Also, your self-perceived exercise, right? If you feel like you had a really good exercise, that also leads to more deep sleep at night, which is fantastic, right? Another thing to think about is our mood. So I think I said exercise with the last one, but actually I have another one here. Positive mood. So making sure if you do have anxiety or depression, get that treated. There's a lot of resources out there. Check out Psychology Today to find, a good therapist in your area. There's lots of different apps that you can go to, but positive mood has been showed to really improve the length of time that you do in fact sleep. So yes, mental health and sleep health really go hand in hand. They're a bi-directional relationship. So if you do have an anxiety, depression, get that treated, and you may start to notice yourself sleeping longer and feeling better. All right, everybody. Hope you found this video so helpful. If so, please let me know in the comments below. If there's anything that you want me to address or talk about, also let me know in the comments below. As always, sleep well, ladies. Until next time, thank you.